Hey, welcome to GradTales, a podcast where college stories come alive straight from the heart of the campus. This isn't your normal lecture, it's your backstage pass and learning without textbooks. Why should you watch this? Because we are answering the questions that you want answers to, raw, unscripted, and unfiltered. GradTales is not just another show, it's a journey where you and I are building, learning, and growing together, one story at a time. Hey guys, welcome to the very first episode of GradTales. GradTales is where we bring you the real side of college life conversations with professors, alumni, leaders, and guests from all different fields. They are not just success stories, they are awkward beginnings, the mistakes, the turning points, the stuff you don't usually hear. So, for the first episode, I present to you Dr. Purvi Pujari, the Dean of VPSM. She's a great leader, an academician, and a great researcher. So, without a further ado, let's get straight into it. It's such a pleasure to have you on. I want to ask you though, how are you feeling getting into this one?
I thought the feeling is a lot of mixed emotions. Yeah, excited a lot. Finally, we are together. We have been
Absolutely.
taking up for a long period of time. Not nervous exactly, but yes, looking forward to this particular episode of GradTales. And I know your team has been working for a long period of time, a lot of months going into the preparation, the approvals, and everything. So, yeah, finally we are there. Happy to be here.
Yeah, I mean, considering the time we've taken, it's so good that it's been getting done. But let's rewind back to the start. What made you get into academics, and was academics ever your first choice?
Yeah, I think academics was always the first choice. I remember I read a book, To Serve with Love, from Great Edward, and I really wanted to be a teacher, be a faculty. So it was never plan B, never something like, okay, I'll try this and then maybe go to teaching. So I did my junior research fellowship certification. I got the fellowship, got the NET certification, did my PhD in economics, and got into teaching immediately after my post graduation. So that was always the plan, and really enjoying it. Not a single day where I've regretted my decision.
So, considering your background, you reading your bio, I got to know that you were, thoroughly interested in economics. I just have one question: how do you make a subject like economics interesting for the students? Considering how important it is, what's your strategy on making it fun for the students as a teacher?
Good question, because a lot of students come to me and say that we find economics very dry, we can find economics very tough. So I would like to say that I got interested in economics, wonderful faculty, first thing. Second thing, that was the era when it was new economic policy 1991 came out, and I got interested. I was reading Economic Times a lot, and I could see that whether you talk about human resource, whether you talk about operations, marketing, everything boils down to economics. So is the cost benefit analysis many a times. So I got interested in economics, started reading a lot about it, and finally got my gold medal in economics. How I make it interesting? I'll give you one example, very interesting example. In fact, in VPSM, though I've been teaching economics for last 26 years, but when I joined VPSM, I was taking my first few lectures in post-graduation MBA course. And this was the time when the Coldplay was coming to Vijay Patil Stadium. And in the lecture, I started doing for any person who is handling that event, it's very important how many people are going to buy the ticket, right? How many people are going to eventually come to that concert of Coldplay. So I asked in the class, in the lecture, that what do you think, what would make the difference? How many people would buy the tickets? So what would be the parameters? And students started saying that if the weather is good, they would like to come. Definitely the Chris Martin and the band would be playing, so that would one big attraction. So demand is going to be there. If the parking facility and the commute and the transport is well done, that would be a very big draw. If it's on the weekend, then it would be a big draw. And they didn't realize that we were doing the exercise of demand forecasting. So economics can be made very interesting if you connect it to your real life scenarios like day-to-day activities. So that would definitely make it very interesting in the terms that you understand, okay, every day you're doing some cost benefit analysis. So I'll give you one example. I'm very sure morning your mother or somebody makes breakfast for you, right? So when somebody is deciding the breakfast, for example, your mom gets up and she knows that there is a timeline, you have to go to the campus for your lectures, and she decides, let me see what's there in the fridge, what resources do I have. Somewhere what she is doing is she's doing a resource analysis, time management, how much time does she have, what are the resources, can she make a quick poha, or does she want to make an elaborate sandwich? And she does a quick check of the human resource also. Are you there to help him? Or your dad is there to help her? So that is always the idea that every activity we day in, day out, there is some kind of economics attached to that. So time management, resource management, cost benefit analysis, we all do that subconsciously over and like many a times in the day, but we don't realize that. When you start connecting to that, economics becomes very interesting. And when you consider the price mechanism which happens for a business, the profit analysis, it really gets more engaging.
So from what I analyzed, is structure crucial to economics? Do you solve that using a good structure?
Definitely. You know, when you connect it to maybe national issues, international issues, how the gold prices are moving, why the oil prices are moving, how is a war happening, how the riot is impacting the stock prices. When you start connecting to that, there's definitely a structure. So yeah, that's what got me interested also. So you can connect it to what's happening around you in the business environment and get that to the subject.
Did you also do your research in economics?
Yeah, I did my postgraduate, doctor, PhD degree in economics. So got a doctorate in economics. So definitely that was one thing. But whenever you talk about research, I think very important is that you delve deep into the topic. And many times students come to me that why research is important. I think I'm very sure.
I was about to ask that question.
So I'm very sure that question must have come to your mind, that why should we get into research? So I would like to say that whenever you do research, you are diving deep into one topic. And when you're diving deep into one topic, you prove to the world, firstly, that yes, I can go in depth into some topic, I can study some topic in depth. And that is one, I would say, presumption or myth about your generation, that you do everything but not go deep into something. So I think that is very, very important, that when you have research in your CV, somewhere you're proving to the world that I can go deep into some topic, I can study it for, let's say, 2 to 3 years. That is one aspect. Second aspect is you also get the confidence of knowing in depth about some particular topic. And then coming back to the question that why research is important in your CV, I would like to say that many foreign universities as well as Indian universities are looking into the fact that do you have research papers, articles which are written. So have you written any article, have you written any research paper? So that looks good in your CV. And obviously you become master of that particular subject. So there are a lot of benefits from that.
Correct. So how is VPSM inculcating research into the curriculum, or how is VPSM helping us become good at research?
So I think from last few years we have been having research conferences, and we invite research articles from students as well as faculty as well as people across the globe. So a lot of international academicians, researchers, professionals, industry professionals join us in those research conferences and conclaves. That is more of a, you can say, brainstorming exercise, that what is happening in the industry. So people come together and kind of look into what is the cutting edge technology in every aspect. So recently, the last one we had in this June 2025, we were thinking about what are the latest marketing technologies which are happening with the help of artificial intelligence and machine learning. So I would say that at VPSM, what we are doing is we are making sure that faculty, students, and all the stakeholders are involved in the research, which I think national education policy is also focusing on, that research should be a very important step in the academic journey. And the best way is to involve the industry professionals as well as every stakeholder into that process.
So now that we've kind of learned the importance of writing a research paper or even being a part of it, could you give our viewers and me, for example, a tip or one area that you see potential into the research field?
Okay. I would say, like, coming from, because my forte is economics, I'll give you an example, because many times students come to me, how do we write our first paper?
Yeah.
How do we just get into that? So I'll give you an example. One of my research paper, I'll give an example which has been published in a reputed international journal, is I took the exports of India and exports of China, and what has changed over the period of time, right? Is India still exporting primary goods, or it is moved on to tertiary and secondary goods which are more complicated? So there's a model, atlas of economic complexity. So what students can do is they can take a model from their own syllabus, which they kind of connect to, or which they kind of understand and want to work on. They can take that subject and delve deep into that. So I compared Indian exports and Chinese export, and then kind of like India's export to China and China exports to India, and how have they changed over the past few years, and are the people wanting something different from India? Are the Indian people preferring some different things to buy from China? So is that happening? In what forte? So the idea here is to identify the research gap. How are the other scholars, what have they researched earlier? Now, how can I contribute to that academic, scholarly literature which is already available? How can I develop on that? Can I do something differently? And then build upon that.
Right.
So you can take one topic, maybe you can compare some other country. In the same context, you can compare exports of some other country. You can take some particular product. So if you go deep into what people have done, maybe put into a different geographical context, different time period, different industry, you would be able to get your answers, and you can start your first step. So you can do research with a secondary data or a primary data, which I think most of you are doing already in your assignments and all. So that is the idea, to go with the first time. If we are doing research for the first time, that would be a first step.
See, that's interesting, because now we know how to tackle a problem and how to identify what area of research you want to do. But could you also give us a 101 on how to start a research paper, or what is the process that a student needs to apply in order to get a research paper done right from the beginning?
Okay, so the first step always is to do a literature review. So how many people have written about it? What have they written about it? Many times what people do is, I want to do research in that, and this is what I've written, and this is publishable. But the first most important reason is, I cannot claim that I am doing or I am writing something very important unless until know what the scholars have written earlier.
Correct.
So once you have a proper review of, let's say, last 20 years, what people have written about the same topic, how can I contribute to that? Okay, so literature review is the first step of doing any research, and then you find a research gap. Okay, this has never been done in India. Okay, this has never been done in the fast food industry. So this is how you compare the same thing. Has it been done in India? Has it been done in that particular industry? So you find your own niche, you find your own research gap, and kind of continue with that.
Ma'am, I always wanted to know, how were you in your younger days? Were you always this disciplined? Were you always the good child? Or what was your experience growing up?
Yeah, I would like to say that yes, discipline was a very integral part of me growing up. So yeah, getting up early in the morning, which I still continue. I do my yoga, I do my meditation. But yes, all of you, the way you are, there are phases when we take academics take it easy in academics. But around my post graduation, I started getting really interested. Always a disciplined person. Love to plan out my things. So, having food at time, study time is fixed. But during my post-graduation and graduation time, I started getting interested into academics and how I would like to take teaching as a career. So I always feel that as a student, as a learner, if you have things in perspective, you try out different things, that is very, very important part of growing up.
Did discipline help you as a leader in managing?
Yes, definitely. The way my day goes, if I am not disciplined, the things will really go haywire. I'd like to give you an idea that, many times I have my day chalked out. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. These are the meetings. These are the things I want to sort out. These are the emails I want to send. But something crops up, and there is either important immediate urgent meeting held up. So what I do is I make sure that there is a to-do list in the day, and I make sure that before I leave from the campus, I get that done. But having said that, it's never 9 to 5 job. It's more of a 24/7 job. So I do get calls from people, students like you, who want to launch something, who want to do something. They have a proposal, an event coming up, so an emergent, urgent action has to be taken, urgent approval has to be given. So yeah, it's like that.
Now that you mentioned being available 24/7, I mean, I must ask, how do you stay approachable to so many students? Like when we came to you with the proposal, you were always approachable, we got it sorted out. So, how do you stay approachable?
I'd like to go back on that. Being a student front of the principal's office and tried to get approvals. So we don't realize when we as a student go for with this proposals to the dean. Many a times they are busy with something else. But having gone through that journey, I always remember my days that when I was planning an event or went with some request to the dean. So whenever you people are there in front of my cabin, I kind of see my younger self. So I really want to be there. And there is a feeling of FOMO that I don't want to miss out on anything. So I make sure that whatever students are coming up with, maybe an altercation between them or maybe a request for something, I really want to solve that issue. I think that is what got interested me in this role. Because being a student, we always felt like something has to be done, something has to be changed. And I think that's a very natural human emotion. Like we see a popular player, Virat Kohli, playing and we say he should have done like that. Yeah, so in academics also, you feel that why not we do like this? So that is how I feel that many times you want to be a solution provider. And that is what a fulfillment is there in this particular profession, at this position. So I want to be approachable to the students that I hope I can make an iota of difference in whatever experience they are having at VPSM. If I can make a little their day better, their journey better at VPSM, that is where I get interested and try to be there for them all the time.
So, I mean, it's great that you mentioned FOMO because I was just about to ask, dealing with Gen Z in general, how has the shift been? So while reading about you, I've read that you've had decades of experience. So you've taught the earlier generation, you've also taught Gen Zs. How is Gen Z different?
Okay, lovely. Very interesting question. Gen Z, again, very similar but very different in the terms of tech adaptability. You people are very adaptable to the new technologies. You are very good at multitasking. With us, fortunately or unfortunately, when we were in campus, we were there in the moment, we were in campus. Whereas when you people are there, you are doing that thing wherever you're also available, putting a story on the Insta, you're listening to some podcast, so a lot of things happening, too much information coming up. So what I have changed is I also try to be that 2-minute thing. You want the results in 2-minute thing. There's some positives, some negatives to that, I must say. But I try to give you solution as fast as possible. So I think even a couple of days back, the general secretary from your college called me at 11 o'clock in the night, ma'am, this vendor is asking for the payment right now. Do I have the approval? So I try to give that as soon as possible. WhatsApp is not my mode of communication, but it has become, I still don't prefer it as an official communication portal, but many a times I have to kind of give it and give some approvals on WhatsApp immediately for some vendor or some last minute changes in the event or in the official things. But yeah, that is how I connect to the Gen Z and try to be there for them.
So you just mentioned that social media is not your preferred mode of communication. How do you maintain that efficiency during communication?
Rather than efficiency, I have to really make sure that all the stakeholders are in loop. So like with the podcast group also, I create WhatsApp groups for different stakeholders. So I ensure the parents, the university senior management, the students, the committee members, the faculty members, all of them are there on the WhatsApp group. So even if I'm giving a decision or I'm giving a comment, all of them are in loop. But still again, any official communication, my preferred mode is emails.
Good to know. I think I'll keep that in mind while writing the next email. Ma'am, Gen Z is all about bragging because ragging has kind of become old now. It's all about bragging what you have, what you can do. So how do you deal with the discipline issues around Gen Z, or how do you handle Gen Zs because of their attitude and their behavior?
Okay, it's an interesting question. Bragging is good. Bragging is good till you do it about the positive things. So I always feel that rather than bragging about the material things, I would really like students if they are showcasing their either talents or the experiences they are having, the moments they are having. So I would really love if all of you are in campus, creating memories, becoming a part of what is going on, volunteering in different activities. So that would be a good thing. So Gen Z has a lot of competencies. All of you come with beautiful attitudes and beautiful personalities. Everyone is different. So if you could bring all that to campus and then brag about it, be there in the moment, be there in the university, and then kind of show it off, I would love that. So having a natural love for students really makes it very easy for me, because it's not a single dull day in my life. So many times students feel that becoming a dean is I just write emails or just decide about what is going to be the attendance rule and examination rule and everything. But believe me, my day is full of such beautiful moments with generation, younger students like you, your generation, where they're coming with a lot of competitions they can have, a lot of business case studies. We are, for example, we are going to have Venture Vibe, a Shark Tank kind of a competition.
Oh.
Then there are a lot of finance related competitions having, marketing cell competitions having. So a lot of things which are happening in the campus. So I would like the students to be there, part of those clubs, events, and then brag about it.
Correct.
So that would be the best thing. The part you said about the discipline, students can be disciplined if they find their own passion. I always like this kind of word. There is a word known as amateur, right? Amateur in Latin means to love something, to have passion for.
Oh.
And many times we feel we are amateur, professional, a guitarist or something. But don't feel shy about not knowing anything. If you're an amateur, you are preparing for something just because you love that and have passion with that. And when you have passion, discipline comes by itself. So when you are into something, like for example, for podcast, your team has been so disciplined, working for such a long period of time. So when you are passionate about something, you would be there early in the morning, right? So, or maybe working late night. So discipline would be inculcated by itself once you decide, find your sweet spot, that this is what I'm passionate about, this is where I want to pursue.
Right. In your vast experience, how important do you consider team building activities or team management as a part of your success?
Definitely, that's a very important thing, and I'm happy that you asked this question. The toughest part of being a leader, or leading a team of faculty, students, and everybody, is how do you bring the team together. So we don't realize most of the things we do in our career, even early career, are a steps, a building brick towards what you achieve later in life. And many times there is a team working with you. So when I say that I am a dean or I'm a leader of this, there are a lot of behind the scenes working.
Yeah.
So all the faculty is working together. I cannot run this show alone. So most of I have wonderful faculty in the domain of HR, finance, marketing, artificial intelligence, and they're running the show. Unless and until I do not respect them for what they are, what competencies they bring to the table, the value they bring to the table, I cannot be a good leader. So you have to have that true trust, true honesty, to respect for your team, and that makes it together. So I always tell the students also, when they are working in a team for a project, for an assignment, they should be working together. They should ensure that they bring that coherence into the team and give respect to everybody who is bringing anything to the table. So there would be different competencies. Somebody would be working hard on one aspect of the project, somebody would be working hard on the other aspect of that project. So you have to respect everybody, bring everybody together, and that is kind of the sweet success mantra.
So, what team building or leadership advice that you would like to give me?
I would like to say that when you are a leader, creating a fair environment, creating an equitable environment is very, very important.
Okay.
Believe me, that is one of the concern, what are the biggest challenge, or one of the most focus point of my day or my tenure here, that I want to make VPSM a very fair, equitable. So whether it's students, everybody should be able to come to me and say that this is what I want to be done. So rules, whether there's rules, whether there are any kind of things which are systems which you are putting in the place, it should be equitable, it should be applicable to all. Same goes with the faculty also. Okay. I try to make sure that given their competencies, given their attributes, given what they bring to the table, everybody should be coming together, should be fairly addressed to. So that is one of the biggest success mantra, I would say.
So as a woman in academics, what were the challenges you faced, and what is your advice to women who are trying to break into academics?
I wouldn't say that any bigger challenges for being a woman. If you present yourself as a thorough professional, I don't think academics has any barriers per se. In fact, I would say the women or the females bring their own natural talent of being a primary caregiver. So it's very easy to connect with their emotional intelligence. Right. They definitely are well connected to the students. So I wouldn't say that any kind of barrier was there. I bring my own positive strengths to this particular career. So I would just say one advice, that being a professional helps, being a thorough professional. So if you are punctual, if you bring what you bring to the table, if you're very sincere about it, that is what works. That is very, very important. Be honest, be truthful, be ethical. That is the key here.
And this infrastructure helps, right?
Yeah, definitely. This is an amazing infrastructure. So when I say that I work in VPSM, I'm in awe of this infrastructure. And I think we have Honorable Chancellor Dr. Vijay Patil, sir, to thank for that. So this itself brings that kind of interest or passion to this career. Yeah, definitely. This infrastructure is great.
So what areas of improvement would you like to see in VPSM? Or what is your short-term goals and long-term visions for Vijay Patil School of Management?
I would rather say, since I have joined here in this campus, one thing which I've really worked on is to give some added value to the students, which our national education policy is also saying about that. So what I've done is I've added a lot of certifications. For example, we have these Harvard certifications. So now at VPS, these are inculcated, embedded into your curriculum. So all of you have that in your mark sheet, in your CV, these certifications are there. Apart from that, we also working for the domain-wise certifications. So for example, for marketing students, we have digital marketing. For finance students, we have finance certifications. For HR students, we have competency building mapping certificate. So a lot of certifications which are added to that. Apart from that, for students who are going to appear for the placement, we are also doing professional competency kind of grooming. So they kind of do work hard on personality grooming, how their soft skills are being developed. So they are given group discussion topics, they work on that, mock interviews are being prepared, how to connect on LinkedIn, how to empower their CV with the skills, certifications and all. So at VPSM, we are working a lot on making sure that every student is employable. So right from their business communication to their soft skills to their domain skills and technology skills. So we have Power BI, we have advanced Excel, Tableau. So we're making sure that these students are technologically proficient as well as soft skills groomed before they appear for any interviews. So a lot of work is being going on. In the long term, I would like to say that I want to ensure that every student who steps in this campus gets the best value out of they get the global level education, they get industry mentors, they get faculty mentors who are best in their field, they get certifications, they get volunteering experiences. I would rather like to add this thing here, that when I joined DY, I had worked across various universities, different states, but I never realized that having a stadium connected to a university, which is our USP, I didn't realize that that would open so many doors for students. Right. So my sports management students are working with the at the stadium, learning when the, let's say, women international tournament is happening, how is the behind the scenes thing, what are the things happening. When there is a concert, My sustainability students, my students who want to work on how event management is done, how that is being done. Then we have at the university, we have different schools, right? We have School of Medicine, we have School of Engineering. So I always feel that students can create a business plan, an ideathon, where they can work with engineering students, they can work with School of Medicine students, and come up with a business idea. So I've seen a lot of students coming with their business ideas. So they approach to me that they want to start that business, and we have ideation platform here in the Innovation Council at the university, which helps students to build up their business, build up their startup. So a lot of things which are being planned at the university level as well as the school level for making sure for the entrepreneurship, for the certifications. So this is what I want to happen in future at VPSM, that it should be a startup hub, it should be a lot of certification should happen, a lot of volunteer opportunities should come up. So a student is empowered with these kind of experiences in that journey with us, that they, when they go to the let's say the corporate world or the outside world, they are thought leaders. They are ready leaders who can lead a team with their emotional intelligence, with their empathy. So that is what I want to kind of do that and bring that to the VPSM.
So great that you mentioned about startups and the culture that's going around, because I recently attended an Ideathon bootcamp that was there. I need to know your view on how do you think Gen Z is balancing the startup hustle with academics, and what is your take on people who are dropping out of college just to focus on their startups? Do you think that's good?
I would rather say, I would rather have a very conservative view about that academics is very, very important. I really appreciate the students who are working for their own startup, but a degree is very, very important, and university or the campus is a place where you can network very nicely. We have a lot of industry people who are coming to the conclaves and meetings and everything, guest lectures. So that is where you can connect with them. These are the mentors, and with the peers you generate those ideas, you develop those ideas. So this is the place to be. These 2 years, don't think that as a hurdle to your startup journey. Think that as a stepping stone to your startup journey. You can get wonderful funding opportunities, you can get wonderful thought ideas from the people who are an expert in those domains. So don't look down upon these 2 years as a break or a hurdle. Take it very positively, learn from here, and then step up to your startup. That is the idea here.
Right. So coming back to academics and teachers, you've obviously given great advice for students. What advice would you like to give to an industry professional in the career of academics who wants to maybe one day become a dean? So what was your secret mantra to get success into this field of academics?
Rather than dean, I would say for any leadership position, because I think it will apply to all of you also. Many times in our early career steps, we don't realize that we are getting up to that position step by step. So if you're trying to focus on one area, that usually doesn't work out. You might be very good in that, but then you lose out on a bigger picture. So it always helps that you kind of touch base upon different competencies which are required to be successful in your career. So for example, in my role, I made sure that I worked in the admissions teams, I worked in the placements team, I worked for different committees and clubs and everything. I think same is true for you people also, that more you take experiences of different aspects of working towards becoming a leader, that really helps, that you can get a bigger picture. One more thing I would like to add here, that once you have played different roles, you get more empathy for people who are working with you. You get their insights also. You are kind of in their shoes and understanding what they are doing. So it really helps to have a bigger picture and kind of understand from where they are coming from. And that would be the success mantra for being in a leadership position or in a dean position.
Correct. I think adding to the point of volunteering, I think some of the best people I've met in this college were through volunteering. So volunteering for some events, networking with them, that's the best opportunities I've found in this college. So kind of rolling back to public speaking, being such a vital aspect of not just being a leader, but being out there. How can one improve their public speaking, or how have you personally improvised your public speaking?
Actually, from the school days, I was always into, you are there on the stage reading news,
Yeah.
reading quote of the day, and being anchor, poem recitation,
Annual
poetry
days.
recitation, annual days, anchoring for that. So that was been my passion for a long period of time. I was there in debates, group discussions, participating a lot and winning prizes there. So that has always been there. I think many of you don't even know that I was a news reader, the anchor for the Doordarshan
No way.
national television. Yes, during my graduation days when I was your age, I used to do that.
Oh.
So yeah, a lot of beautiful experiences which build up your public speaking skills. So now it helps in giving speeches as a dean. But yeah, what is important is, one thing is obviously to have passion, but we all are selling something.
Yeah.
At a school level, at a dean level, maybe I'm selling admissions. At a CEO level, you are selling your company for stock market. Then maybe as a marketing person, you're selling your products and services. So, and when you're going for placement interviews, you're selling yourself. You're trying to prove your mettle. So your public speaking helps when you're giving presentations in the corporate, and there are ways to develop it. You people have your mobile phones, you can record yourself. I usually advise students that what they can do is record your video, looking at the phone, speaking, let's say, introducing yourself, and then you put volume on the mute, see how your facial expressions are. Am I smiling enough? Am I looking good? Am I looking directly into the camera or directly at the person? Other time, what you do is you switch off the video and listen to your sound, how you're sounding. Am I sounding confident enough? Am I taking enough pauses in my sentences? Is there a clarity in the voice? So you have to do it again and again from the emotions point of view, from the presentation point of view. Rehearse it, the smiles, the pauses, the humor, and that makes you a better public speaker. So that comes naturally to some people. For them, some it could be rehearsed, but there are ways to improve it, and you should. I think that's a very important skill, I must say.
Okay. But must say that public speaking is quite draining, right? Maybe attending meetings, talking to people, faculties, parents. Do you ever get bored or tired in board meetings, and how do you deal with that?
I have always loved every aspect of academics. So even when I was a young teacher, I used to love taking my lectures, taking attendance, taking, writing, making question papers, checking answer sheets, how the students have performed. So every aspect of academics has, really, I love that. So even if it's meeting with parents, because I'm a parent myself of two young kids, and then meeting students, meeting senior management, everything is interesting. But I must admit, there's some meetings when I'm either very hungry or I'm really badly need a coffee. So there are days when you need something like that and you're in mid of a meeting, though the context is very important and like you're really enjoying it, but you really think, okay, I need a break for a tea and maybe I can go on. So that is there. That's part of the game, I think.
Absolutely. Looking at your excellent academic record, especially having a gold medal in academics, could you elaborate on what's the secret mantra, the secret sauce to getting good marks?
Good, you asked that question. I would really say that once you start loving that subject, that really helps. But there is a strategy also. Many times, even good students who are really good at that subject don't realize that how you strategize for approaching the question really matters. So there has to be a structure how you answer that question. So just close your books before the exam. Suppose there is a very important model, business model which you're working on, and you kind of write an answer of 20 minutes on that particular question. Try to think of how I am going to approach. What are the strategies? Okay. Is there a graph attached to it? Is there a numerical attached to it? Can I give a numerical example? Do I have a data set to attach to it? Is there a pie chart or something like, pictorial graph which I can add to that? So when you start approaching, let's say even you're writing about demand forecasting or you're writing about Porter model, can I put it how differently, how structured in way? Many times students don't put a lot of effort into the presentation of the answer. Right. And that really makes or breaks the deal. So I always tell the students that when you're working on the computer, you think about what font I should use, whether it should be italics or anything. But when you're writing the answer, you do not do that. You even don't write the question number many a times. So if you strategize how I'm going to present my answer, that really helps. Other thing, many students are very much involved into memorizing the things, writing up the things. It's very important. Again, you look at the course outline, you look at the syllabus, and then close it and think, do I know this particular chapter? Can I write 5 sentences about each and every topic which is there in my course curriculum? So rather than looking at 50 slides at one go and getting scared out of it, it's better to think, can I write 5 lines? Can I write the pros and cons of, let's say, GST? Can I write about what is the recent data about it? So once you approach that topic with that yes, now I'm confident that I know the pros and cons, I can define that, I can write, elaborate with a diagram or everything, you are strategizing how to present your answer. The effort which you do in memorizing a subject or a topic, same effort has to give, or equal importance has to be given in how you present your answers, how make sure you doing different perspectives to it. In fact, same thing I talk about group discussion also. Many times students come to me and say that we didn't get an opening in the group discussion, right? So because there are a lot of people and they're talking loudly and everything. When you're approaching a group discussion, if you're not able to open the group discussion, what you can do is maybe you can summarize towards the end. And maybe you can bring data sets into that. Suppose there is a group discussion going on whether Indian education system is at par with the global education system or not, right? How would you approach? Usually what students do is start talking about the merits, demerits of education system. Why not go back to Nalanda and Takshashila? Start your approach to that. Why not give us a statement about the national education policy, some data sets attached to that policy. So you can get marks in a group discussion if you took a comprehensive view of that. So when we talked about, let's say, demonetization or GST, why not talk about how the stakeholders should be preparing for a change in the tax structure? So there are ways to approach any topic, how to make you more maybe you are getting good marks in GD. People recognize you. Okay, he or she has something different to say. Same goes in examination also. Can I put more numbers, more data into my answers? Can I put more graphs into my answers? Can I put a diagram there? So if you approach it differently, you will stand out in your answer sheets also, in your presentations also. So that's the key basically.
Oh, that's insightful. With the hustle culture around, I think the number one question that needs to be addressed is how to cope with failure. Because Gen Z is very emotional, right? Sometimes dealing with the pain or with the emotions can be tough. So what is your advice on dealing with emotions and coping with the failure?
I would rather say that just cry it out, give it a good cry and move on, right? Sometimes the situations are not serving you. Remove yourself from that situation and remove yourself from the toxic people and just start afresh, okay? And having said that, but give yourself time to cry it out, give empathy to yourself and have a lot of sympathies for, okay, you had a bad day, you are surrounded with bad people, bad experiences, done there, now move on and do something differently. So a fresh perspective, maybe a fresh environment, a fresh hobby, a fresh activity would give you that jump start again.
Correct.
So that is my mantra basically.
But in situations where you have to deal with bad company or bad influence, how do you master not getting into that, or how do you deal with such instances where you have to deal with it but because there's no way out?
So I would rather say that when you have to deal with people, you have to be very firm with this is what I stand for. Whatever works for the greater good, that you have to stand with. Take help of senior people, mentor, things like that, take a counseling there. And then again, focus on finding a solution. So my mantra always in tougher situation is whatever works for larger number of people, the greater good, that has to be done. And be more focused on solution rather than the problem itself.
Okay.
How can we work the way out of this particular situation or a problem? That should be the key.
I think now that we've addressed elephants in the room, how is it a podcast for the Gen Z without a quick rapid fire, right?
Okay.
That's the trend. So pertaining to the trend, the first rapid question I'd like to ask you is coffee or tea? The basic one.
Yeah, tea. Always a tea. Lot of ginger, but tea.
Okay. The second one, what is the biggest myth about management?
That it has to be managed. You don't have to manage everything.
The third being, if not the dean, what would have you been doing?
Although I cannot think of anything apart from teaching. So I would be teaching something, either management or economics or something else, or yoga. But yes, teaching.
Oh, yoga.
Yeah.
What is one productivity hack that you absolutely swear by?
Get that done then and there. Don't wait, don't procrastinate.
Okay. And last but not the least, what's your go-to stress buster after a busy, hectic day?
Music. Always a music with a cup of tea.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for answering these rapid-fire questions. I know we've been troubling you a lot, but
No, but Athar, I must say that your team has been so consistent.
Yeah.
Like you've been there. Morning when I used to come, you were there in front of my cabin. While going again, you had some questions. So you have been so persistent and so passionate about this project. So it's a pleasure being here. I really had fun today.
no, I mean, it's been a passion project of ours. But on a serious note, ma'am, thank you so much to you, also to Vrindan sir, Bala sir, and the entire group. Obviously, I couldn't have done this without the two pillars. A great thanks to Yash. You know, he's the backbone, the most punctual and disciplined guy I know.
I know.
Thank you to Sakshi. She's an operational maestro. So without these guys and without the previous team, I couldn't have done this. But thank you so much for accepting our invite. This has been a long time coming.
Yeah.
And yeah, I hope to see you again, ma'am. Thank you so much for the conversation.
Thank you. Had a lovely time today. Thank you.
And that, my friends, brings us to the end of the video. To summarize the video, I would say be disciplined, never give up. Third, be empathetic. And fourth, take the shot. Embarrassment is the price of entry. If you've loved this video so far, do show some love. Like, share, subscribe, you know the usual. And in the comments, drop down your suggestions and recommendations or who you'd like to see as guest for the next episode. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.